When I say I want to get absolutely hammered on a Wednesday evening, this is what I'm talking about. It's Mountbatten, also known as the Theatre of Dreams. Wednesday night racing, this is what we absolutely love. And yeah, it's another one, it's the classic, it's the staple. So we're going to get straight into it. This was another race where a very small field meant a slightly interesting style of racing. So once again, I think we had 13 total guys, which makes for a tricky but quite enjoyable racing dynamic. So this time we had a breakaway go straight off the back. Harry was not letting that go anywhere. So very quickly the race got up to speed and we pretty much, yeah, it was attacked, but we were together, as you can expect for the start of a race. So this was my first attack of the race. Honestly, the goal here was to cause damage both to myself and others. And well, I can certainly say that was true for myself. Anyway, if you're new here, my name is Red Walters. I'm a professional cyclist and I'm chasing my dreams and goals at the highest level of the sport, including the Olympics in 2028. So if you want to hear more about my journey and see what's going on, then why not give us a subscribe? Anyway, back to the race. I'd actually been chasing three guys who'd escaped earlier. Apologies if I'm not remembering everything exactly right. It's a few days later, and this race had like 50 different attacks, so it all gets muddled up in my memory, even if I recorded this directly after. Anyway, here's me getting brought back by the main bunch, and I'm doing air quotes because it's like only a tiny bit bigger than that four-man group we just had. You always have to be really aware when coming back, just to make sure there's no attacks, no accelerations, because it's easy to get caught out with such a small group. Anyway, here there's another group of probably 4 or 5 of us that had marked ourselves out of the back of the race, so maybe 6 or 7 up the road. And finally, one of us snaps, and we all sprint back to get to the front of the race. This is another example of the exact same thing. Now, I know my strength is short, sharp effort, so I can relax when the race starts splitting up, knowing that I can do a 30-second to a minute effort and get back to the front. If your strength is longer time trials, then this is probably not how you'd want to race. You'd want to try and premeditate and go early and solo and hope that the people like me come to join you in the breakaways. But anyway, here's us catching that next group up on the road. I decide to keep my momentum, keep rolling at 400-500 watts, and see what happens. The guy in front of me is, I think he's a lap guy, so don't worry too much about him. But it's really important to remember when you catch a breakaway, they've sort of acknowledged that they're going to get caught. They've usually slowed down and given up, at least in that moment, for that move. And if you're coming to that group with a small group, they're also sort of satisfied and relaxing because they've caught the group that they were chasing. So actually, you have usually quite a big group of briefly relaxed riders who are not always expecting attack. So if you still have some energy left, it's a good time to get a gap if you think that benefits your race. Now, in this case, we had, I think, probably 35 odd minutes to go, and no one came with me. So I was solo for quite a while, and yeah, it wasn't going to work. So eventually, I sort of dropped the power down and waited for hopefully someone to come across to me or a couple guys to come across to me. But eventually, the group behind actually stayed together, and they caught up at the same time. And yeah, obviously, unsurprisingly, they attacked. So here we've got my favourite part of any race. The blue flag in this case means it's a preem lap. Now, they said before, they've showed the blue flag at any random point in the race. It's a preem lap, 25 quid. Bearing in mind the entry fee was £15, so we are up 66% if we win this. Guaranteed profit. So I'm locking straight onto this guy's wheel. He's gone a bit early, and I'm just waiting for the right time. The sprint usually goes just slightly later than a finish line sprint, understandably. I can feel Harry on my hip. I kick here with what's probably like 180 meters to go, something like that, maybe closer to 200. Get a second little kick out of the turn, and yeah, managed to take home that £25 straight to my pocket. It hasn't hit my bank account yet, but we'll get that sorted anyway. And at this point, another thing to remember: when you're going for preems or some kind of sprint like that, it's actually really easy to just sit back down into sort of zone 2 power and cruise for a little bit instead of just drifting up to the top of a track and stop pedaling. You can keep riding like this, and either you can hope someone will come across to you and you have a little breakaway formed and you would have had time to recover, or it just, worst case, it gives you more time to recover because you could ride for a couple minutes at zone 2 or just have like a 10-15 second break not pedaling. I think the zone 2 is the preferable choice. Anyway, it ended up getting brought back nonetheless because this race was, I don't want to say negative, it was just really I guess, kind of negative, but also really aggressive. So moves kept coming and going, but it was really fun racing. So we're back in the bunch. Harry goes, or actually, he just baits me out into going, and it works. This is like I just fell right into that trap, and now I'm suddenly chasing this small group ahead, but only a short turn. I think it's worth adding some impetus at a point like this just to make sure these medium-sized groups don't get away, because with this field size of 13, a group of 3 is probably just right to get up the road and stay away if you're not careful. So we're coming up to the critical point in the race. Jonty and the Southampton University rider attack here, and the alarm bells don't go off straight away. We've still probably got about 5 to 10 minutes left of racing, which is a relatively long time. So I think the group ends up working fairly consistently. Some guys aren't, but we're keeping the gap stable. And here's where the mistake really was made. So the Southampton Uni guy, they were both about to get caught. The Southampton Uni guy drops back, but Jonty sees that we sort of stalled. This is what I was talking about. If you were in this group, it would have been a great time to attack. He sees we're not actually riding because we've caught one of the guys, so he presses on. Prime tactics right here, and very quickly gets a pretty big gap. Now I'm feeling like I'm pretty marked at this point, so I'm hesitant to try and snap across or attack early, because I think that a lot of people will be able to get on my wheel. Now I think in retrospect the best thing to do for me would be to try and sit on the front at some kind of tempo just to keep the gap down, but again, this is a really cagey last couple of laps, so it's really difficult to judge, and the gap ends up going out pretty big. Now we're just after the 2 lap to go point, and our group is sort of splintering up. I think we're slowly realising that catching Jonty is looking less and less likely by the second, and I refuse to just be the guy that everyone follows, so I'm trying to get as far back as possible, and sort of at the same time everyone seems to start sprinting. You can probably hear Harry shout "red look," and I'm thinking, I know. So here we're like, okay, we've got like a lap and a quarter to go. It's time to the only chance of winning is to go full gas now, although frankly that chance was about a lap too late, but nonetheless we go full gas. We burn every single match. The afterburners are very much on here. There was these 2 guys, I completely forgot to mention these 2 guys. They were in some middle ground. I think they started sprinting just a fraction earlier. We catch them. Now currently it's just Harry on my wheel. At this point in my tunnel vision I can see Jonty, I know Harry's on my wheel, but somehow I still believe that I can both catch Jonty and not get rolled by Harry. Well, let me tell you, neither of those things happen, because Jonty still has like 50 metres of gap by the finish line where he wins, and with about 30 metres to go, Harry comes round me with the help of the banking, and that's me finishing in 3rd place. Not too disappointed. I won the Prem, and again, these are just like, I just love racing. This is probably one of the most fun races at Mountbatten I've had in a long time. Really enjoyed it, just absolutely smashing ourselves for 45 minutes. But yeah, if you enjoyed that one, give it a follow, and thanks for watching.